Welcome to the Everyday Awesome Project, where we bring you inspirational stories and game changing strategies to live your most awesome life. Hey, superstars, welcome back. Paula here.
And Sam, we're having a dance party. Woo!
We're a little fired up this morning. It's a little earlier in the day. We're like, can't help ourselves. And we are talking about today. This is part two. So if you haven't tuned into part one, go catch that. That's the second brain and understanding your second brain. And what was it called? Like listening to your intuition?
The connection
Oh,
between your gut and your health. This is
no,
part two.
this is part two. Okay.
The first one, in case they missed it, was understanding the connection between their gut and their mind, their brain.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So this is part two, and basically there could be 12 editions of this gut brain, second brain, conversation. It's very complex, but you know what we were talking about before the show and getting ready for this is it's also so incredibly simple, right? So we don't want people to get overwhelmed and drowned in all the information that's out there, because it can be, some people are total nerds like me and I can listen to it all day long and read all the things and whatever, but many people are not interested in that or simply don't have the time or bandwidth. It's totally cool. That's why we're here to provide the nuanced information, the relevant information, and to distill it down into simple formats so people can really understand, become aware, and embrace the changes that work for them, correct?
Yeah, and I think what I would add to that, I love it, is when I became aware, like, you and I are students of health, right? We're students of fitness and health and all these things. And like the gut was just not on my radar for so many years of my life. And once it became on my radar, I'm like, this is so damn important, people. Or
How
like,
come nobody's talking about
this
it?
is so important. Like you said, like, we don't want to like raise alarm bells or something. I'm like, yeah, but I want to raise the importance bells. Like, oh my gosh, so much of your health, like I can't remember who said it, and I might be misquoting it, but it's like all disease starts in the gut. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a systemic problem. If you have a disease, it's largely from something that's originating in your gut, the dysbiosis of your gut, right? So when we talk about gut, we're going to use these words energy, your gut, your microbiome, belly bugs, what word you're talking about. It's your large intestine, small intestine, some say, as we said in the first episode, it goes from your throat to your
Esophagus.
esophagus to your anus, right? It's like, but we're probably mostly talking about the two intestines, right? That 30 feet of magic down there that's held together by the thickness, the walls of your gut is the thickness of your hair. So it's a precious little thing. And we can go into this and just start with like um the importance of that on the overall health. One of the things I want to, kind of introduce our conversation is, because you with autoimmune, with the celiacs, right? Like that gut, started there, is how important the gut is in playing this bigger role in immunity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
COVID and diseases and all these things like the foundation. So we said this in the first episode, about 75% of the immune cells in your whole body are lining the other wall, the other side of the wall from your intestines. So it's protecting your body from anything. So if you think about this, so our skin protects us from the outer world, right? And how things get into us is through what we put into our mouth, right? And then it's going through, it's like inside of our body, but it's this tube that goes, from the outside at our mouth to the other outside on our butt, and
Mm-hmm.
that's things in our environment going through the body, if you will. So when that's leaky, when that's got little chains in the wall are broken down, the immune system can get dysregulated, right?
Well, it makes sense. It's on red alert, people. Yeah, I started my stuff, even in my late 20s, and then, of course, autoimmune and celiacs and all that jazz. And then right now, I'm in process of resolving and healing SIBO, which is a small intestinal bacterial infection that I got from apparently swimming all those open water swims training for Ironman last year. So that's fun. So I'm revisiting it again and understanding myself through my own experience. And you have your own experiences I want you to speak to also about how we discovered for us how quickly, when we are aware that our gut is not functioning the way it should be, how
Mhm.
disrupted we are, how impactful that is, and not just ignoring it. So awareness is the number one, right? You with your eating disorder and resolving that over all of the years and hard work it took to rebuild your own health, understanding the gut impacts that that had for you. Mine was autoimmune and celiac, and you just spoke to how that works. You know, all my immune system was on red alert. And here it is again, on
Mhm.
red alert again with this damn, SIBO infection. And it's pretty impactful on my life. And do you want to speak about your own experience there?
Well, I guess I would say I don't know that I've gotten to the full bottom of it. I've been trying to put the pieces together and I don't know that I've found the literature yet. But when I was a teenager, 14, 15, whatever, started eating disorder. So throwing trash into my body and then throwing it up, right? But trash was getting through my body. Within 5 or 6 years of that, fast forward to about 20, 21 years old in college, I get diagnosed with a hyperactive thyroid, right? It's like, well, where did that come from? Well, fast forward, had that treated. So now I have an underactive thyroid that I take medication on for since then. And, the more I dive into studying, like, why does like, where did that come from? Like, my mom didn't have a thyroid, like I was the only person, like that I knew that had this thyroid problem, especially at 20. I mean, I had a goiter, like the
Young,
doctor,
dude.
the,
Young.
yeah, the doctor told my mom, it was the largest one they'd ever seen. I was like,
Wow.
oh my gosh, I was like, we gotta do something about this, I'm like, where the hell did that come from? Well, I think it's all the toxic shit I was putting in my body that,
Hmm.
damaged my liver, all this stuff, created all this dysbiosis, all this, I had no clue what I was doing to this body and like how it affected things. And was I, depressed and this cycle of pain of like eating disorder and feeling alone and all this stuff. Like it was just all tied together. Fast forward, knowing what I know now, oh my gosh, alcohol, as a teenager, all this stuff, these bad lifestyle habits were a contribution to that, and then we fast forward to where a lot of women see another tipping point in their life where hormones shift and change, whether it's PMS or, menopause, right?
Menopause.
And
Yeah.
how, and I am now, I just actually just got some blood work recently. So I have been on for since then, since a 20 something, 150 micrograms of levothyroxine, which is a synthroid. It's a fairly high dose, I think, for people who
It's
haven't
a very high
very
dose.
high dose. Okay, well, fast
Yeah.
forward to, hey, guess what? I just went through menopause. I'm in postmenopause now, and my process for the last couple of years was just things didn't feel right. I was sleeping. I was like, what's going on? Thyroid was out of balance again. Now I'm on 200. I just had a second follow-up, so I've been working with my doctor my naturopath for the last year. Second follow-up, okay, doing 200. How are we doing? How are we doing? And I'm in the sweet spot, but I'm on 200. I'm like,
Wow.
"Ah, that's kind of a lot, So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm a great foodie though. Like
Yeah.
I've been studying the microbiome for since COVID, a time frame, if you will. I've
Mhm.
learned so much, and it's just like, oh, how do I take good care of that? I don't have a lot of autoimmune disease. My aunt has it, I think, but
Mhm.
in my direct family that I know of anyway. So how about you? Do you want to say more on that, or did we
Well,
cover?
I think what we're just trying to say to people, and we'll get on with the meat of this because there's a lot to cover, is that it's all interconnected. Everything is linked to what we are putting into our body. It happens to be processed by this incredibly complex and yet beautiful system
Yeah.
we're calling the gut, because it's a combination of this entire pathway. But how that affected you and how it affected me and how it's affecting really everybody. So nobody is not affected. Every human is affected in some way, shape, or form, for the good or the bad.
Well, and I want
Okay.
to really tie. So one thing that I have seen, and you're going to talk about this, I think, with metabolism in the brain, right, is how many autoimmune diseases, and let's call it, the brain issues that we see in Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and things like that. Guess what? They're finding out that it's related to the gut. And so, and autoimmunes like Crohn's and what else do we have? Lupus and
Oh, there's
rheumatoid
150 plus
arthritis.
autoimmunes. Yeah.
All the autoimmunes. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a list out there you can find. So all of those. So what happens is the gut microbiome And that relationship it has with those 75% of your immune cells, right? If that gets out of whack and the gut, so the microbiome, when it's healthy and diverse, right? I just want you to think of like, oh, it's like a pleasant garden to walk into, right? It's diverse with lots of flowers and vegetation, and there's biodiversity, and and we
Butterflies and bumblebees
I just like,
and
oh, it's like a healthy garden. It's like,
yeah,
oh, they, that's probably doesn't smell great, but it's like, it's
herbaceous.
yeah, and you don't, when we think of monocropping, we think of, oh, somebody's just growing
Soy
orange.
and wheat and
Yeah, one monocrop. It's not healthy. And you have all these things that they have to do to keep that crop safe from, right? So what nature wants to naturally do is diversify. And so it's eating a diverse array of things. And I studied this when I did that test a few years back, like 3 years ago with Zoe.com. Highly recommend that. And it's a test that you can get of your microbiome to see how diverse is your flora, how diverse is your gut, what is it, bacteria and parasites and all these things. You want not too much of one and missing some and stuff like that. That healthy garden creates a healthy environment for your overall body, right?
exactly.
When that's broken down or it's in what they call dysbiosis, it's just think of like garden's got a lot of weeds in it. Your garden, the plants are kind of dying, you got too many of one dominating. It's like, oh crap, this just took over, right?
Mhm.
Well, that leads, the trickle down is autoimmune because the immune system takes information and training, like the gut microbiome actually train the immune cells what's good and what's bad in the body. And so if you get these things like cystic hormone, disruptions, the body's fighting against itself. It's misidentifying because there's dysbiosis in the body. So the gut isn't telling the immune system what to do properly because it's out of whack, right?
Exactly. It thinks everything's a foreign
Yeah.
invader
Yeah.
because it's leaching through the walls. And
Yeah.
I'll just add one piece, even though we're not talking about metabolism today, and my favorite subject in the world, which is mitochondria, because I'm a big nerd like that. Oh my God. Is that in the body, there are 35 trillion cells. Okay. Inside the 35, and there's 200 different types of cells. Okay. So 35 trillion cells, 200 different types. It's pretty complex in there. Okay. You can just see how chaos could rain down if things were malfunctioning. There's 100,000 trillion mitochondria. So the mitochondria are the energy cell of the body. They sit within all these other cells. This is how we stay alive.
Wow.
And so those little cells within the cells are the energy house. They fuel everything. It's how we even function.
Mm-hmm.
And they can become starved
Mm-hmm.
and damaged through this exact same process.
Mm-hmm. And
And
as men,
then,
yeah.
go ahead, and then we wonder why we have no energy and our brain isn't working and we become diseased,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because on a cellular level, so just extrapolating on what you're saying, the cells are either not getting the proper nourishment and food and energy and fuel that they need, and or they're becoming damaged through this process as well. And cell dysregulation, of course, is cancer and every other disease state
Mm-hmm.
running rampant
Inflammation.
in the
Yeah,
body.
I would say the trickle
It's
down.
inflammation is the, yeah,
Yeah, the trickle down. So when you have this dysbiosis, a dysregulated, a weak garden, things aren't flourishing or whatnot,
leaky gut.
that leaky gut, and it's sending signals to the immune system, the wrong signals, like it's out of balance, right? And so the system is attacking things that are good and for letting things pass that aren't, or it's just mistaking things. And so the trickle down is like this overall inflammation we talk about, like rheumatoid
Mhm.
arthritis is like inflammation in the joints and those areas that it deposits, right? Like it has to go somewhere. And
Mhm.
so think of it like a thermostat, right? You have a good healthy garden, like sunshine, the bugs and everything can live in there, and like la la la, life flourishes. And if it gets all out of whack, then things die off and you get weeds and whatnot and overgrowth. Well, that can lead to an irregular immune system, which creates too much like heat. In Ayurveda, we say too much heat in the body, right? So
Mhm.
inflammation is just so good. Inflammation is you have a scratch on your arm and it goes right to that place, and your cells attack it and take care of it, right? Whew, okay, temperature's back to normal, right? But if you have dysregulation, you've got all this over toxins and misregulation sending inflammation to the body, the
Chronic
overall
inflammation.
chronic, yes, that's a good word for it. The
Yeah.
chronic inflammation, chronic heat is like that the body's too hot. Like it needs
Yeah.
to, yeah,
The person standing in the middle of a forest fire,
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
breathing in the smoke. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, this can't be good for us people.
Cancer's going to create it,
Exactly.
all sorts of diseases will arise from that, those autoimmune diseases. So, yes, so your body's gut is a systemic inflammation regulator.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
you're having inflammation symptoms, and there's lots of trickle down, like we said, some of these diseases that are inflammation, whether it's irregular autoimmune or things, and some of this can have to do with like, I'll jump, to it shows up in your skin,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's not just inside, but it'll show up in your skin. Eczema, act like I had acne, adult acne until I was in my 40s. I was like, I just have acne. I'm just one of those people.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow. Once I got my gut cleaned up, and especially for me, I have noticed that alcohol and my acne, direct correlation. Like if I drink now, I'll have a breakout. It's like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. And of course, for me, that's my first indicator always is if I've gotten gluten or some other allergen that
Mhm.
I have food wise. And in this case, I'll get a skin rash, and I've had them everywhere and, really out of control. And then, like with the SIBO, it was one of the first things. It was like, what are these rashes back on my face? And it was similar yet different than my prior rashes. And going to the skin doctor, they're like, just put some steroids on that, cover that up. And I was like, no, bro,
No.
there's something systemic going on within my body. It's definitely related to my food, this or that. And I'm not dissing Western medicine, but they were like, we got no clue about that. And I was like,
Yeah. People
what,
put makeup on
y'all?
eczema. Put makeup on eczema. It's like,
Oh, it's steroid creams, which
yes.
thins your skin and causes other damage. And I was like, no, I'm going to get down to the root of this. And
Cool.
sure enough, yeah.
Well, one of the things that brought me into the gut world was I had this, I forget, what call it a rash. It just had like on my back. I just started noticing I was scratching a lot, kind of like over
Like a cat.
between my
Yeah.
shoulder blades. I was like, oh, what is that? And I asked my partner, I was like, could you take a look? Like, take a picture of my back. Like, because I don't see it. I'm like, what does that look like? And he took a picture of my back, and it was just this, it wasn't red. I'm trying to remember. It was like, just looked like speckles or something. And I was like, this doesn't look right. I don't know what it is. And it's not like, let's say I wasn't losing sleep over it. I wasn't out of work. I wasn't, paralyzed by it. But I was like, that's not right. And
Mhm.
we don't sit and go, well, you have, but now you know better. Like, we don't go too far down a track that's like, I'll just let that sit on my back for a while
Fester.
and turn into something else. Well, that was a huge indicator that we got to the root of it, Candida in my gut.
Mm. Yeah. Hmm.
Huge that I probably had for decades that I had no idea. And so we were working on Candida for years and years. And now it's like that went away pretty quickly. I had some quick wins with that, but it did take a lot of years to get that Candida, the yeast production in my gut.
And just so people know, you could have a bacterial overgrowth, or you could have a fungus. Like, so
Mhm.
there can be bad bugs, bad juju in the gut system. So we are talking mostly, or I think we're going to talk a lot about, how to create a good environment, a good garden. But you can have predators in there too, fungus, bacteria, etc., that cause the overgrowth, and then the symptoms start to show up.
Mhm. And so I would just say, like, do me a favor if you're listening to this, any symptom that you think like isn't you know, homeostasis, i.e., like whether it's your eye, whether it's something on your skin, something your knuckles, inflammation, whatever, just look it up in the gut. Just see if there's something related to it, because you're probably going to find there's something behind this with the gut. And
Mhm.
that might, just a big clue, because it all originates there from what I've seen. So, okay. So what else? Let me see if there's anything else. So, and it's nutrition, like you said. Like if you've got bad gut, it's not absorbing those nutrients, right? Like I see this with my kitty cats, poor things. They've got, irritable bowel syndrome, right? Which is
Oh, shoot. Hmm.
crappy gut, right? And,
Hmm.
he's just losing weight, right? So, if you have irritable bowel system, if you're constipated or irregular bowel movements, if you're not pooping every day, at least once a day, please, that is a sign you have some breakdown in your gut, period.
Or if you're pooping all the time,
Mm.
which I've had the extremes. I've had both
Yeah.
pendulum.
Yeah.
So fun. Yeah.
Bloating, yeah. Like some, yeah, like
Or
I,
diarrhea. Everything that goes in is coming out diarrhea. That's also very problematic. So you could be pooping, but if it's not quality pooping,
yeah. So if it's,
quality pooping, we should send you some pictures of what your poop should look like. Just Google it. It's all
yeah,
there
if it's too loose or if it's too firm or if it's not
at
happening
all.
regularly enough, like I had someone that I heard, was it you? They were telling me like 10 days.
That was me.
That was without a
When
poop.
I was very sick, I didn't poop for 10 days. I was so sick. I mean, I was borderline, like I probably should have been hospitalized because of the amount of toxins in my body. But
Yeah, because your body's
yeah,
like,
people, I
gotta
was
get it going.
jacked the hell up.
And, you know, we'll drop a little note here about one other, you know, the biosis or dysbiosis. And that's, and I don't know a ton about this. This is something new for me, but it's called the estro, estro, well, I should say this before we go on. Estrobolome, and is a specific collection of gut bacteria and their genes that are capable of metabolizing and modulating circulating estrogen in your body. So this is specific, most important for our female listeners, right? Is like if you have anything that feels like you've got estrogen dominance in your body, look to the gut. Just like we'll take it to that. And so as these so what the liver does is it packages up estrogen floating around your body, sends it to your gut. Gut, if the gut is all the healthy garden, it's like, okay, we'll take that and we'll send it out the exit or the exit hatch, or we'll take and we'll recirculate what's necessary. You get it into a garden filled with weeds, and they're like, I'm sorry, where do you need this package to go? Oh, we'll send it back to the body. So like you get this over influx of estrogen
So
and
let me just add,
yeah.
it's men too now. And
Uh,
that's why we're seeing a lot more male breast cancer, prostate cancer for men, et cetera. So they're getting recirculatory estrogens into their body. They're becoming estrogen dominant, just like a lot of women walking around. And same process. Human is
totally.
human.
Totally. So, yeah. So, forgive me, not just women, but
Mhm.
any, all of us for sure. But if you have signs of estrogen dominance, you know, I wonder if that's the man boobs too, because I hear that that's where estrogen can sit on men, you know?
Yeah, and it's a certain type of body fat that they'll
Mm,
see is compounded, and yeah,
yeah.
lots
Yeah.
of other signals, but it will show up. Estrogen's in our food, it's in our environment.
Yeah.
So males are getting it just as much as we are.
Yeah. So, the estrobolome bacteria in your body are designed to ensure estrogen is properly eliminated, you know, and sometimes, you know, put it back into circulation, but mostly to eliminate it. So, if you're having a that check on your gut. Talk to your doctor about that. You know, and Western medicine doctor may not even know, but talk to a naturopath or somebody else, you know, keep asking, keep asking.
And
So,
I just add for myself, I went into early menopause because of this. So my gut was totally broken, wasn't functioning at all with the celiac, the autoimmune. And so I went into early menopause and ended up early hysterectomy, early all the things,
yeah,
and early menopause because of that. So, like, just have awareness, my
yeah,
female friends, also that, if you're having fertility issues, or you're having menstruation issues, hormonal issues, you want to be aware about doing something about this now. Because I learned all of this like in hindsight, right? Hindsight's always 2020. But I would really love for a lot of people not to have to go through those things.
I'm just going to list some of them just so that we can get it into the conversation so people can be like, well, I don't know estrogen, if that's estrogen dominance. I'm just going to, so PMS, yep, hot flashes, night sweats, unexplained weight gain, especially around the belly, fibroids, endometriosis, mood swings, and even increase for certain hormone sensitive cancers like breast cancer. So, those are some of the warning signs you want to look out for.
Some of
So,
the huge bummers.
dude.
Bummer.
Okay, so let's talk about, you know, what are some of the biggest causes for your gut, your garden to get overcrowded with weeds and get all out of whack.
Crappy food, dude. Crapola. Come
And
on now. You don't be shoveling shit into the dog pile of already shit, like what's the fertilizer looking like?
mhm, mhm.
Anyway, go ahead.
Well,
Sorry, that
let's
was
go
my
on that
rant
one
for a
because
hot second.
here's something I wanted to here's what I want to double click on is I think
Okay.
people are blinded by marketing sometimes and they don't even realize that what they think is healthy is not. So I want to double click on, you know, they think processed foods like, oh, that's McDonald's or that's, you know, food. I'm not eating that crap food. I'm eating healthy food. So I'm going to share with you. I just wanted to come up with a list. Thank you, AI, for helping me pull this list together succinctly of like hidden. So you said processed foods is one. Yes, and preservatives. So what I want people to understand, and when I discovered this, I was like, oh, a preservative's job is to keep something from dying. So it preserves it, right? So like it keeps all the bacteria away. So that thing that doesn't, so if you think about a mush, like a mushroom in nature, right? Its job is to like fungus, when fungus, if you see fungus on a piece of fruit or something like that, it's actually helping that fruit break down. That's totally natural. You're like, oh, I wouldn't eat it. Okay, don't eat that. But that's part of the natural fungi in the environment called Earth. That's their job, right? You have those in your belly. So if you put something that's designed to prevent breakdown, i.e., beef jerky or, long shelf cracker. So I'm going to list them. What happens is you get these preservatives that are keeping that food from breaking down, goes into your gut, and it attacks the gut that is trying to do its job, which is trying to break your food down and like recirculate and get the nutrients out of it. It says, nope, y'all got to die. Like these preservatives come in and wipe them out. So things that you may not realize, mass produced bread, and I'm not talking about necessarily just white bread, like, it could be
Shelf stable.
yeah, shelves. So if you have a bread that can like hang out on your counter for 2 weeks, that's probably yeah, like bread is meant to break down. Like natural sourdough, you see it like it's alive, it's doing its thing, and like after too long, if you leave it, it gets those little green things because that's the natural process. If your bread can sit in, a little pantry for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, get rid of it. Change. Most breakfast cereals, period. End of story. Most breakfast cereals. So, there's hardly any cereals today that can't say that. Flavored yogurts. I think
Mm.
people are really missing this boat. They're like, oh, probiotic. Like, you know what? Not making it through your gut, not making it through your digestive system because a lot of those, things that they sell in marketing speak, like yogurt's made a comeback. They think probiotic. Guess what? Your stomach enzymes are wiping them out. So not so if it's not plain and if it's not unsweetened, it probably has lots of sugars, artificial sweeteners, and stabilizers. So cereal and granola bars, you know what? Just wipe those off. Store-bought dressings and sauces, be aware, if it's gonna live out on a shelf, like if it can live on a shelf or live in your fridge for like years, no, don't do it. Low fat or diet snacks, dude.
Are those still a thing? Low fat and diet snacks? For reals, dude, I was like an 80s kid and that's what we did.
Totally.
Everything's low
Yeah,
fat and it was
well,
all low fat and diet foods and we were eating it by the boatloads, by the way. Wow, we're all getting fatter and unhealthy.
yeah.
So that's still having a moment.
Diet Coke. Well, yeah, it's morphed. Like we don't
It's
recognize
just chemical warfare.
it
Sorry.
is. You get extra sugar, you get artificial sweeteners, and then all these unknown additives. Like it's just like a gut bomb. Okay, it's just a gut bomb. Crackers and chips. This is a hard one for me. Like I'm a chip girl. Like I look at corn chips and I go, I love you, my corn chips, but I know you got GMO in there, and no, 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 no. And so. And the oils that they're often cooked in are just gut bombs, man, little gut bombs. So you got to be selective about your crackers. I think there's some decent ones out there. I love Mary's
And
crackers.
not eat them every day.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're
This isn't
having
like
a
a
once a week treat moment, we're not
You're true.
okay, you got cool. But many people are sustaining themselves with these foods
Yeah.
on the daily.
Yeah. Well, I look at so how I have shifted my lifestyle habits is I spend very little time in the middle of the grocery store. Like the aisles are
Because
the
there's no refrigeration there, dude.
exactly. Exactly. Like if
Boxes and
it
packages and cans.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, if it doesn't go into my fridge and like would die in my fridge in a week or pretend, some of my, yeah, it's like I shouldn't be putting that on my body. So like I have very little food in a pantry. I have a like little tiny pantry and fridge
This is
is,
one of the many reasons I will not shop at Costco. I have a laundry list of reasons I won't, but that is one of them. And
yeah.
also, this was a real reprogramming for me, and I'm still fine tuning this, but
Mm.
and I get this is a luxury that I have. So I'm just saying I have a privileged luxury that I work for myself most of the time, unless I'm in production or doing a specific project or event. So I can go to the grocery store every 2 or 3 days and buy the things for the next couple of days. But that was a real retraining for me and figuring out, can I do that? And can I do it efficiently and blah, 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 whatever.
Well,
I,
when I learned about flash frozen, I was like, oh my gosh, so, I used to do a lot with, Like I love blueberries. I think blueberries and raspberries for their antioxidant properties are fantastic, but I would sometimes have trouble eating them fast enough, right? And I was like, I don't want
It's
to A, the cost. So I'm like,
wasteful.
I'm all about frozen blueberries and raspberries. I get to have it year round and they flash freeze it right at the moment. It's like I'll get, and it's not preservatives. It's just
Mm.
frozen, right? So the nutrients and
You know how you know?
mm,
You know how you know?
you
It's a
take it out.
secret.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Read the damn package. If it says freaking
Well, no,
ingredients,
no.
blueberries, then what is the ingredient?
They don't.
Read the
So at
ingredient.
certain percentages, so they don't have to list all the preservatives, not
Why not?
necessarily. No, not all of them. No. So
How's that
just
possible?
your
What's the
best
FDA?
judge is if this thing is going to, you can leave it sit on the counter and it will naturally decay in a fair amount of time, like days, a week or something. It's alive and it's not being held together by something else, preserving it from falling apart.
But if you're shopping and you do take a moment to read the ingredients in a package, you will see all kinds of preservatives,
Yeah.
additives. And one thing I'm highly allergic to, emulsifiers.
Emulsifier.
Emulsifiers are thickening agents put in
Yeah.
almost everything.
Yeah.
And for me, those are really problematic. And I would say for many, many people, they don't realize emulsifiers that
Yeah.
make the thing fluffy or thick or whatever, all basically binding agents.
Mm-hmm.
Problem children.
I should add to this like what those are because people I don't I just like I said I have my little lifestyle game called like I don't eat things that would last
Can't
a long
read.
a long time. Well, but just I just do that like my thermostat is, is this thing gonna sit on, like a Twinkie? It could outlive me. I'm like, that's
Do
clearly
they still make
I
Twinkies?
know that's it was super general, but even Cliff Bars, dude. Like people look at Cliff Bars and it's like, yeah, I've had this since 19, I'm like,
Yeah, we're still good.
not so sure that, so granola bars, Cliff Bar, like oats in their natural state are okay, but when you process it and you turn it into some sort of wonky bar or whatever, and you make it with all these other things, and then it's got this shelf life for it. But like oats in their natural state, yeah, they can live on, you dry them out and then you warm them back up. Okay, but cookies
You
and
know, for me, I'll make a suggestion of, and you should give some suggestions too for just the general human out there just trying to figure this shit out, right? Is like awareness, which is what we're gracefully trying to present today, and then some basic tools like just a general examination or take inventory of where am I currently shopping?
mm,
Where am I spending my money? So, what I do hear a lot from people is a pushback to all of these types of conversations around healthy nutrition and how imperative it is the expense or the
mm,
inconvenience.
mm,
And I would just say, as obnoxiously and loudly as I can, and if I need to get a bullhorn, I sure the hell will. If you're going to invest in one thing with your money and with your time, it is going to be your nutrition, what you are putting in your mouth. You can eliminate many other things that will not have an impact and really are making no difference in your life, maybe even negative impacts, and reinvest that time, energy, thought process, and some financial resources into this one bucket called nutrition.
mhm.
That was my little moment. Sorry, had to say it.
It reminds me there was a quote that relates a little bit to what you're talking about. I heard this from the stage one time and I was like, that's freaking brilliant. And it was about water and the importance of the quality of your water, right? And I think people just pass that off, but whatever water, they don't take it. And it's like somebody asked him, well, do I really need a water filter? And he's like, well, you can either buy a water filter or you can become a water filter.
Oh, shit.
I was like,
Oh my God.
it's like,
Whoa, bro. Hey, say that again because you just blew my brain. And then I'll tell you about a study I just read.
that's how I was.
Go
I
first.
had
You go
this man,
first.
it was like blowback that day. He's like, you either buy a water filter or you become a water filter.
OMG. Okay. Well, first of all, I am prepping for a long backpacking trip and I work part time at REI. So, water filters, we talk about water filters all the time, and this is very interesting, cool
Yeah.
stuff. And then, secondarily, I'm working with an athlete who has Parkinson's. And so I was doing a little bit of homework and research there. And a new study just came out about the 125%
Mm,
increase
mm.
in human beings diagnosed with Parkinson's who live on or near a golf course. and are not filtering their water. So they are drinking the water that is coming out, leaching out, if you will, from the surrounding golf courses and all of the chemicals and things put on there. And then they're drinking those without filters. And I mean, I'll put a link to this study in the notes because it blew my mind and also broke my heart simultaneously. But thank you for bringing up water and the impactfulness again of the water going into our gut.
You're 80% water people. Like the water,
Exactly.
have that on your rate. Like I think so I have these glass jars, not plastic jars, glass jars. I go to a specific store. I like the pH, high pH, whatever you can get, but just get a reverse osmosis if nothing else. It's pretty affordable, you know? And I think I was thinking about it the other day, I was like, you know, I have this whole like thing I do. You know, I have 3 jugs.
Yes,
I
you
have
do,
to
darling.
go,
I've traveled with you in these jugs.
I just have water jugs and stuff. And I was like, but you know what? I
I'm worth it.
it's important to me. Like what? I don't want to be a water filter. Once I heard that, I was like, I can't go back. I can't unhear that. I can't unknow that. And now you can't either, right? And so the same thing with your food. Like people don't realize the downstream effects of the decisions that they make today necessarily. So if you and you and I are not a like 100%ers. We don't believe in 100%.
No, come
No,
on. We're
like
humaning just like everybody else
yeah,
here.
like, do I have crackers? Yeah. Do I have some corn chips from time to time? Yeah. Do I have whatever, you know? Yes. Right. So this isn't perfect, but it's like noticing like your body is a like a water filtering system. Your body is a food digestion system. If you want better results in energy and mitochondria and all these things, skin clear, whatever, brain fog, you want to outlast your children, you know, like your what you put in your mouth is going to make a difference down the road. You choose. You choose.
And one of the reasons I've studied metabolism and in particular the energy cells of the body, mitochondria, as a fitness and health person, you should know these things. It's basic science, but also I needed to understand when I was at my most ill state,
Mm.
pre-diagnosis with the autoimmune, and my gut was not working, hence 10 days of diarrhea and or everything in my mouth went right through me. I was 50 pounds heavier than I am today. However, completely malnourished.
Nourished, right.
Okay. Iron deficient, completely malnourished. I mean, dangerously malnourished.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
how could that be? I was 50 pounds heavier. It looked like my body was taking a lot of calories and storing a lot of calories. It was utilizing none of them.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing. So, no wonder I was depressed, anxious, no, I wasn't functioning at all, right? And it's because it didn't matter if I was putting good things into my body, they weren't getting through to the cells. And of course, prior to that, I was putting all kinds of bad things in my body as well and just had no awareness around it. So, I mean, yeah, oh, we can't say enough about how important this is, can we?
Yeah, and this isn't a make wrong session.
No,
This is, you know, it's just like we have been educated and informed, and it's like we just want people to be aware. What you
painfully through our suffering.
what you do with is totally up to you. This is not making wrong. It's just something to think about. It's an
We
invitation.
want people to feel good, dude.
I did, right?
Come on.
That's the bottom line. So like what we're committed to is having people in our life and that, you know, are in the world are alive and thriving and you feel good. And
Yeah.
hey, if you, you know, I didn't know some of these things. Look, your results showed, you know, my results showed. It's like, okay, don't make the mistakes that we have. Like, learn from this. Like, let's do better, right? And so I just want to cover a couple more artificial sweeteners, like you talked about emulsifiers, so artificial sweeteners. They're breaking down in the biome, not good. Stress, 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 stress. So got to get that, you know, nervous system back in balance. Got to maintain, you know, say no. That's a good, all right. Whatever
Yeah.
you can do, stress. And I, you know, I think I said this when we started. Fiber, fiber, fiber.
Mhm.
Like, oh my gosh. And you know what that can look like? An apple a day. Apple a day.
Mhm.
Like it could be that simple. Like a piece of, and I don't mean like a lot of your fruits, not like your bananas, but if it's got veins in it, like an orange or a grapefruit, like I'm in love with grapefruit lately, like grapefruits, oranges, apples. If you think it's like, you gotta like break it down in the mouth, and you probably gotta break it down in the gut. It's giving those bacteria something to chew on and work on, and like it feeds them, right? If you feed them artificial sweeteners, it's like, I don't even know what that is. I don't know what to do with that. You know, it's like, oh, store that in the fat. Like make them more fat. Diet Coke, I don't know what these chemicals are here. Put that in the fat. We can't deal with that, right?
Mhm.
So fiber, fiber, fire, and environmental toxins. I just want to say a little bit about this. We talked about the water coming into your body and you're turning it and you're filtering it. People, what you put on your skin, right? Or your near, like, what kind of dish soaps are you using? What kind of clothing, laundry soaps are you using? Perfumes, creams, eye creams, shampoos, like just take a look. Just look over in that direction, right? If it's got SLS, sodium lauryl sulfate, like blah, blah, SLSs, like choose again, put it back, choose it again. But looking at that, and you can pretty much, there's a couple that I've looked into recently. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know that was as bad as it is. They sell it like it's good at Target. And I was all, oh, yeah, not so good. So take a deep, and if you can go to a health food store and you say, give me some beauty products, give me some, shampoos, and they're probably going to send you in the right direction. All right.
Exactly.
Lack of sleep and then movement and sweat. Movement and sweat, like important for lymphatic system, like digestion, right? Happens when there's movement going on in the body. So movement and
Well,
sweat.
your lymphatic system is the garbage company of the body.
Right.
And
Taking out the trash.
hallelujah, praise the Lord that we all have lymph nodes within our body scattered everywhere. And they are there to pick up the garbage.
Yeah.
And
Take it,
they
and then they
can't
get into the gut
function.
and it's got to get out. Yeah.
Exactly. And lymphatic system doesn't work. That whole system does not work without muscle contraction, which means movement.
Yeah, if you're relying on a cup of coffee a day to be your, stool softener, that's the lazy man's way
Even
out.
though I'm a big fan of that
No,
cup of
that's
coffee
fine.
every day. Yeah.
But if that's what you're relying on, I'm saying
Yeah.
like, gotta have that morning coffee or I'm not regular, right? Then that's lazy. There you can do better. You can do better. Apple a day. Like I tell you that, and when I did Ayurvedic cleanses, one of the cleanses was like 6 apples a day. I'm like, I'm not eating 6 apples a day. I don't understand this. And like, oh, it's like a massive fiber push and feed those belly bugs and get things back into balance. So yeah, yeah, yeah. So ways to detect, we talked about some of the outer symptoms, the autoimmune immunes and stuff, but I just want to give you, a couple things to know if your microbiome is damaged, like some early warning signs and some whatever. So persistent bloating, not just like, oh, I ate some beans last night or had whatever. Gas, abdominal pain, irritable bowel, irregular bowel movements, constipation, like we talked about, IBS. Hello. Emotional and mental shifts. So if you get increased anxiety, like stabilize, like it's growing, right? Not just you had an anxious moment. Depression, brain fog, mood swings. And mood swings are a direct link to neurotransmitter production and inflammation, guys. So if you're like, shoop, 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 you're like, I don't know, I'm so emotional. It's like skin
Mhm.
issues. We talked about acne, eczema, psoriasis, unexplained rashes in all the parts. Fatigue and low energy. It's probably a sign, those mitochondria that we were talking about, right?
Mhm.
So poor nutrient absorption, inflammation, and that's downstream impacts on your metabolism. Frequent illness.
Mhm.
You're the person that gets sick in your family, or oh, the kids brought something home. Okay, well, if you had a strong immune system, thank you very much, microbiome. The healthy garden wouldn't let that.
Well, if your immune system wasn't exhausted from
Yeah.
every day,
Mm,
just being the deluge of the battle for the immune system, it could be there when it is really required at the most important moments where you're experiencing or exposed to illness, disease, etc. It could be there on the ready. Instead,
yeah.
it's freaking exhausted.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
It's
can't help you.
exhausted. Yeah,
Sorry.
I
We
got
don't,
nothing. I
we
got nothing.
let them in. We don't have any more. Right?
Yeah.
So some of these can be food sensitivities and intolerances. It might be pointing to an out of whack, and then unexpected weight changes. So difficulty losing weight or sudden weight gain. Just like you said, we're just pointing to something to go look for yourself. Like, hey, the gut is, it impacts all the other systems. So take a damn
You
look.
should see my Buddha belly with this SIBO I have. Oh my God. I'm like, I'm 4 months pregnant. What in the hell is this Buddha belly?
Has it gone down? How are you doing with it? Is it?
Well, now in the last couple of weeks, as I've been slowly working on healing it, but that's really sucks.
Yeah.
And that's not a visual thing. I'm not a supermodel. I
Yeah.
don't need to be,
Yeah.
walking around naked and showing off my belly, but it doesn't feel good. And I
Mhm.
know a lot of people can relate to that.
Mhm.
This doesn't feel good when my jeans don't fit and I
Mhm.
feel like I'm walking around and
Mhm.
I'm not comfortable in my own skin.
Mhm. Totally.
Mhm.
One thing that I want to kind of highlight is I don't know if you've heard of like uh, what is it when you transfers, poop transfers? What's that protocol?
Implants,
Yeah, so I forget what there's a name for it anyway. But so your
transplants.
microbiome is given to you by your mother inside of the womb, and it's largely installed like started when you go through the vaginal
Womb,
canal.
if you go through the vaginal
I
canal.
know. And if not, then your microbiome is
I know my poor baby was a C-section baby. I'm sorry.
and it's malleable. You can influence it, right? So one of the things you're going through is like don't necessarily expect night and day changes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, yeah, and if you had constipation, you can start, introducing things or, move that through. But if you have something that's you've let go, like that Candida that I had on my back,
It's
that's
gonna take a minute.
it took years. It took years. And
I'm laughing because I'm sorry. It's just how it is.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So just know, like, hey, and you can bring it back from the edge, right? Like, I don't know where that Candida would have, like, who knows what was next?
Mhm.
It looks like Candida and a skin rash. Maybe I start losing my eyesight. Like, where's this going to go? Right.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so lifestyle habits for gut harmony. So reducing the stress, people getting the movement, sleep. Sleep is super important for those little babies down
My favorite thing to do after exercising is sleeping.
there.
I love sleep. Isn't
Coffee
it
and sleep.
fascinating how many people are like, I don't need it. It's overrated, blah, blah. I'm like, have you lost your freaking mind?
Dude, I don't know those people,
Bring
but
it the hell on. I can't wait to go to bed every night. I'm like, why is the sun going down? I want to go to bed. I'm sleepy. Of course, we get up early, but still.
so good. So good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So sleep, movement, sweat, hydration. Like keep that area, water that garden. Water it with great water. Water that.
Mhm.
And then be mindful of medication uses. So we won't go too much into this, but just know that when you do those antibiotics, they say for 2 years, it like wipes it out down there. So you're actually more susceptible to more things as your gut is wiped out. It's like it's sort of like at the end of the harvesting season, they just go clear scrub all the vegetation, that topsoil off, start again. That's not really the best way to do it. That's why doctors are so, I think they're starting to understand, don't be throwing antibiotics at the gut. Like it needs to heal and be regenerated. And it can. It's like you can turn a dying garden around, a garden farm, if you do the right things. Don't just wipe it all out and then start again. No bueno. No bueno.
Yeah.
All right. And I just maybe just cover a couple things. So like I said, fiber is really key for me.
Mhm.
I have a love-hate relationship with like pickled foods or so one of the things I found though recently is I realize when I get those little pre-made salads or you go to the salad bar or something like that, they have the red onions that have been
Mhm.
pickled.
Mhm.
I hadn't realized I actually really enjoy those. So I started buying those and I have a jar of pickles. I haven't bought a jar of pickles in a while. I was like, oh my God, because like sauerkraut, like it'll sit there and I'm like, oh, sauerkraut, I got to get around to enjoying that. So
I love pickles. I love pickled beets.
yes.
Yeah, I'm not really, I tried kombucha, but unfortunately I tried it when I was having the SIBO and I was actually
Mm.
feeding the SIBO, I found out. That was
Yeah.
fascinating. So you
I'm
do
not,
have to have a healthy gut. When you're putting these things in it, like I currently don't have a healthy gut. I was literally feeding the bacteria this thing and having an adverse reaction. So
I think
awareness.
I was growing kombucha because my friend was, and she taught me kombucha making. So I was like, oh, sweet, I'll do that. I think same thing with my kombucha making was feeding the Candida. And I stopped. I was like, maybe I should be doing this. I was like, it's a
Yeah.
nice idea. Let's just like overeating sourdough would probably not have been good for me.
Yeah.
So
I'm on an antihistamine diet right now. You can just Google that if you want to see what that is. But
yeah.
and that's specifically because every food was becoming an allergic reaction within my body, inflammation, autoimmune, all the things. And
Yeah.
so an antihistamine diet is taking foods that have a lot of histamine in them and cause
Causing.
that kind of reaction. and eliminating them temporarily, not forever, so my body can calm the hell down, Jackson Brown.
Turn the fire down a little bit.
Turn down the heat, mama.
This garden's trying to grow. You got
And it's all like kombucha. It's like when I was like, oh, I was kind of enjoying that shit, but it's fine.
You can bring it back. You can bring it back. Yeah.
Or will I or won't I? Who knows? But it's just a learning curve, right? And I'll find out later.
Yeah. Yeah. And everybody's bodies and everybody's
We're all different.
your microbiome is a very unique fingerprint for you too, right? And you can adjust it, so if it's like you, what is it, bacteria that you have? Too many bacteria or virus?
Small intestinal bacteria.
Bacteria, so overgrowth of bacteria, right? So you can do things to bring it back into balance, bring that pendulum back. So just don't expect miracle cures. Don't, I'll just pop a pill and like, we'll take care of that, or I'll get my constipation under control. It's like temporarily, but what are you doing lifestyle wise to have those regular movements, take care of yourself, So
Exactly.
good, good. Well, I think have we covered it? Have we helped open the book of like people looking at their gut as like a happy place? It's a happy garden down there, right?
Yeah, we've given plenty of positive and awareness, negative symptomatic, things for people to work on both. Have a be awareness, see what's not working, and then get busy doing what can work for you.
So what's our one thing? What do we want to summarize and have them, think about, be aware of?
I mean, my biggest thing that I want to beat the drum again, and you might have a different thing, is that the gut is the second brain. Okay, this is part 2 in this series. The first part was on how your brain, mind, thoughts, emotions are impacted by what's going on in your gut. And this is, and FYI, the entire health of your physical body, not your mental body. Yes, part A. Physical body, part B, is also impacted.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, really, I can't think of anything more important, because as far as I'm concerned, everybody deserves to be mentally and physically well to reach their greatest, highest potential, right? But if one or both of these things are not working because the gut is dysfunctional in whatever way, I want to just clearly empower them that they have every choice an option to do it differently, and the impacts will come. The positive flow or trickle down effect, it will happen. I'm confident. I'm confident.
And I think, the one thing I would say, there's so much outer emphasis on the body as like a symbol of some sort of health, like six-pack abs or, whatever, and I'm like, if we had our inner garden on display and we could see, if it's like, how's your garden today? Do you have butterflies fluttering around and little caterpillars growing and climbing on all your things? Like, or is it like, God, that stank. What's going on up in your gut, right? If we took more of a look of our gut as our garden and, how are we doing on the inner gardening instead of these fake things that people tell us are measures of health or fitness, six-pack abs or looking this and the certain body weight.
Scale, yeah.
That, like, I know too many people that are emaciated trying to look a certain way for a picture or something like that. There's no aliveness, there's no vitality, there's no, just a curiosity, a brightness in their eyes, right? And pep in
They're
their
just
step.
spending a ton of money on
Yes.
that external appearance
So
as a way to, get external validation, either from themselves in the mirror or from those around them, however, of their worth.
Yeah.
The
So let's
worth lies within your own physical being.
Yeah, you
You
can't see it,
determine.
but
Exactly.
you know it. So like, yeah, like you're a farmer now. You're an inner gardener and tender. Like all those little bugs and bellies and things, take good care of that space. It'll take good care of you. Right?
Or pull the weeds.
All right, my dear. What's our final memento to leave them with, as we always do?
Well, I'll just reverse it for a change. How your life looks don't mean nothing. It's how it feels.
Yes. And every day is your opportunity to find your awesome.